Going over to the political part podcast, you have David Hogg saying that we have shootings because of democracy, which I would say is about as intelligent as anything else David Hogg says. That is to say, not at all, because, that bar's pretty low. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Eric Daughtry on X. He says, whoa, DNC Vice Chair David Hogg, the party's new face, issues stunning new statement on democracy. And, well, David Hogg did one intelligent thing in his life. He did suit up for the occasion, so, he did one smart thing in his life. It's a low bar, but still. Here's David Hogg here.
For them, because we go out there as Democrats all the time and say democracy is the most important thing. We have to defend democracy. We fail to acknowledge that this generation, democracy is what put us through school shooter drills and school shootings. It's what's put us through the climate crisis and so much more. What we have to do is prove that democracy matters by standing up to the special interests that are killing the American dream and making our young people lose faith, not only in our party, but the future of this country. That is why.
Special interest. Like the party trying to destroy the middle class with increased taxation regulation. Yeah. School shootings. Yeah, I don't think so. People forget, back in the day, schools had rifle racks. Because kids would bring them to school, and after school, they would either have, a competitive trap shooting or skeet shooting, or they would go hunting, get some dinner for the family. We've also, fun fact, had quote-unquote high-capacity magazines for well over 100 years. Or as we call them in Texas, standard capacity magazines, because that was what came with the rifle by default. And we didn't have any of these issues. I think there are many variables of why we've seen an increase in frequency. One of the biggest ones being single parent households, especially fatherless households. Now that's something that has changed dramatically since the government tried to interfere and say, we're going to help out single moms by incentivizing them so they actually have more of a fiscal gain by pushing the husband out. Now, again, that doesn't happen every single time in terms of there are obviously some women who do need some help, obviously. But after the government rolled out those programs that incentivized it, the rates shot up by like 4 or 5x. And again, we look at what kids are most successful, who's the most well-adjusted. The ones that are from single-parent households struggle the most. Also, I don't think it's coincidence in terms of how many pills kids are popping these days from Big Pharma. That's another big thing that's changed the past, 20, 30 years. But no, he's saying democracy is why we have that. Maybe it's also those gun-free zones that Democrats like to push so much, where teachers who, many of them are already qualified, legally speaking, in states that do require a CHL or a concealed handguns license permit, well, they're forced to be disarmed in those gun-free zones. The bad guys know that. The students who want to cause evil know that. That is another thing that's changed radically. And yet, no, he's saying democracy is why we have that. Really? Now, again, he will probably... How much will he make from this clip? He'll probably raise a couple million from this clip. And there's some people who will believe him. It's just quite scary. And this went pretty viral. Got about 1.5 million views, as well as 5.5 thousand likes. Well, the first comments, well, not by number of likes, but perhaps by the rating of handsomeness. It's me, the topping show. I say, quote, hashtag find retards. Found one for you. David Hogg, LOL. Got 24 likes. Cool Christian Engineer says, quote, how to make friends with a leftist. And there's a WikiHow article, well, fake, but it says WikiHow how to make friends with leftists, and they're standing outside a mental health center, getting 164 likes. Now, another issue also, Ronald Reagan did shut down the mental institutes way back in the day as well. That also could be a variable of why we're having these continued issues in public schools. Again, I think there are many variables that contribute to it. I think one of the best ways to stop them would be, having appropriate security and maybe not disarming teachers from their God-given right to defend themselves. But it's my 3 cents. It used to be 2 cents, but hyperinflation got to be 3 cents. Now, you also have whale psychiatrist saying, quote, LOL, this kid is an idiot. Getting 1.9 thousand likes, which he is, but a wise man once said, never underestimate your opponent, whether it be in politics, business, or sports balls. Because again, his message is going to resonate with a lot of folks. Mostly leftists, but again, a lot of them have a lot of deep pockets. It's funny how he says, the other side has big NGOs and big donors. Yeah, spoiler alert, big tech and big pharma. If you look at where the employees donate dramatically, it's over 95% to Democrats. Now, some of the businesses also directly donate. Sometimes it's just the employees. And when, again, 90+% of all employees donate to one side of the political aisle, I can't but think that company probably has a little bit of bias and incentive mechanisms to push those things. Now, you also have the conservative alternative saying, quote, so he's basically calling for dictatorship because democracy has failed. Got it. People prepare accordingly. gained 993 likes. The researcher says, quote, Democrats are not for democracy, they're for totalitarianism, Marxist, and communists, gained 441 likes. So it literally says dinner, that's her name? No, dimmer. Huh, I need glasses. Well, not yet. It says, quote, I've never seen a party just straight kamikaze themselves like Dems are right now, getting 688 likes. Let's see, is anyone sticking up for David Hogg? JP Liberty says, quote, or it's a picture of Adolf and it says, what's a meme? Yeah, it's a meme. It says, quote, if we could just jail Trump, get rid of MAGA and the end of the Electoral College, stack the Supreme Court, ban voter ID, and censor free speech, we could have democracy. Getting 152 likes, which, yeah, it's also concerning that, yeah, those are all ideals that they're pushing for on the left. And again, David Hogg is becoming more and more of a figure of the Democrat Party. I mean, he's well dressed. Well, his words aren't not intelligent, but they are articulate. He's speaking quite clearly, which, again, that's more than I can do most days. So, again, we'll be interested to see what his future is in the party. I also have one of my favorite memes of David Hogg. It's this from Squirrel Run Farm, and his white t-shirt, which, again, who wears a t-shirt to a podium? But nevertheless, it's a David Hogg, and his t-shirt says semen is a food group, getting 19 likes. But let me know in the comments. I mean, do you think he's a future Democrat Party? He already has a position, but how much influence do you think he could have that may actually help Democrats? Or do you think it might backfire and the average American doesn't resonate with his ideals, and you actually have some Democrats, flip and donate to Republicans and vote differently? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your co-workers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.